for Christmas. Vic, do you see that on my Snapchat?
I had to look. Coming up next on NSEN, high school basketball has reached a fever pitch and the local district tournaments are wrapping up. See who survived and who advanced and who get upset.
Plus, we're going to take a look at one of the most heated rivalries in college sports, the 100 Miles of Hate.
All those stories and much more. NSEN starts right now. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Victor Benz.
And I'm Jonas Sage. This is NSEN.
The MTSU's men's basketball team have reached many great firsts over the last few years. And yesterday, they added yet another one. For the first time in program history, MTSU ranked in the Associated Press's top 25 list. The Blue Raiders received 87 total votes to land them at the number 24 seed in the country. With a record of 22-5, Middle Tennessee is also still at the number 1 spot in CUSA. NT will see if they can end this week with more positive news as they try to top Conference USA foe UAB at the Murphy Center this Saturday. Cameron Davis knows how big this is for the school and is excited for the team.
It is. It's a big thing. It's been a goal of ours. We got in the last coaches poll last year, the top 25, right before the conference tournament. So it's kind of nice to be in it with 2 or 3 weeks left. We all understand what kind of work we have ahead of us, but it's great for our fans, our players, and our brand.
Now, before the hoopla that broke out here on campus due to the announcement, MT did have a game over the weekend. The fellas traveled down to Ruston to play Louisiana Tech in what would prove to be a huge game in multiple ways. After starting the game a little shaky getting behind early, the Blue Raiders quickly got back on track. Antron Johnson and Nicky King, accounted for the team's first 14 points after Tyreek Dixon went down what was ruled a minor concussion. Freshman guard Donovan Sims played a career-high 23 minutes in his time. He racked up 5 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Despite a late scare of a La Tech comeback at the end of the game, NT was still able to notch a double-digit win over the Bulldogs. Final score, 87-70. With this win, MTSU set a school record for 12 true road wins on the season. Another notable achievement from this game goes to Kermit Davis getting his 400th career Division I victory.
And while the men's team is riding high on a good win streak, the women's team had a historic game that went down this past Thursday, looking to shift the Conference USA standings. The Lady Raiders took on Western Kentucky, wanting to avenge their last defeat against them at the Diddle. Unfortunately, that just simply was not the case, as MT struggled to shoot, going just 4 of 20 from the 3 and only making 37% of their shots. Meanwhile, Western Kentucky shot almost 50% from the field. Both Tasha Brown and Ivy Brown were very effective in this game, going a combined 8 of 15 from the field and 3 of 6 from the perimeter. Alex Johnson did continue her return from injury with 18 points, making 10 out of a possible 12 free throws. Now we're going to toss it to our MT analysts Elijah Campbell and Xavier Dupree to see what went wrong against the Hilltoppers.
Thanks, guys. I'm Elijah Campbell, and here with me today is Xavier Dupree from X's with X. In X, Lady Blue Raiders fall tonight by a score of 76-60. What did you see that really went wrong for the Lady Blue Raiders tonight?
I think the most glaring thing for the Lady Raiders is they weren't hitting their shots. They went 4 for 20 from three-point range, and that's really uncharacteristic for this ladies team who can really shoot well. They got out-rebounded tonight, only by 3 rebounds, 33-30, but their shooting was really what was bizarre tonight.
You're right, that was a characteristic for this basketball team. And the turnovers, too, killed them. Anytime you only have 6 assists and 20 turnovers on the night, you're not going to win many games. So being careless with the ball, getting out-rebounded is a recipe for disaster. But out of all the players, Alex Johnson seemed to have a pretty good game. You think that's at least a silver lining for this team?
Yeah, it is. As long as she's still playing well, I think you're always going to have a chance. Like I said, the Lakers, they have to hit their shots. WKU was double and triple teaming Alex because no one else was hitting their perimeter shots. They were missing from three-point range. So if they can start hitting their shots, they'll leave Alex open on the inside to be able to take those one-on-one matchups. And that's what she does.
Yeah, and this loss brings the Lady Blue Raiders to 7-5 on the conference. They got one more game here this week on Saturday. A big win could really help them in terms of getting good seeding for that 3 spot in the Conference USA tournament. Until then, I'm Elijah Campbell.
And I'm Xavier Dupree.
Back to you guys at the desk.
The Lady Raiders are hoping to end their season on a high note after the loss to the Hilltoppers, and it started with Rice this past Saturday. Thankfully, the tides turned in the Lady Raiders' favor, only needing 51 points to outduel Rice. Where the defense lacked at WKU, it shined at Rice, only letting in 35% of the Lady Owls' shots go en route to a 41-point lockdown. Freshman Anna Jones continued her impressive season, scoring 12 points while knocking down 3 three-pointers. Senior forward Rebecca Rebuter says the team has a magic number they focus on.
Well, she did say that as long as the other team doesn't score 60 points, they're going to be just fine, as that defense held Rice to only 41 points. Still ahead on NSEN, we're going to have a very important story on why MTSU and WKU have that historic rivalry. Also, Western Illinois came to Middle Tennessee for their season opener. Coming up next on NSEN.
Chef Patty here. Why should you include avocados as part of your family's balanced diet? It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Number 1. Avocados fill you up. Avocados contain unsaturated fats, good fats your body needs to help with the absorption of key nutrients.
Me hungry right now.
Number 2.
Avocados are good for you.
Avocados are naturally cholesterol and sodium free, plus they contain nearly 20 vitamins and nutrients.
Me need vitamins and nutrients, and number 3, avocado delicious.
Try avocados in place of ingredients higher in saturated fat. Avocados taste great in sandwiches, salads, and even in baked goods like cookies.
Avocado cookies? This match made in heaven.
This is your new kitten, or your new puppy. Every day, 70,000 puppies and kittens just like them are born in the U.S. Cute, right? Well, what's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents. And when a kitten has a litter of oopsies and a puppy has a litter of uh-ohs, pretty soon you have thousands and thousands of OMGs. And that leads to millions of pets being killed in shelters each year. But if 80% of pet owners say they believe in spaying and neutering, then what gives? Well, it turns out those sweet little fuzzballs can get pregnant sooner than you think. A lot sooner. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. You just have to remember one number. 4, as in 4 months. When you bring home Maggie or Ruby or Puddle or Clyde, get them fixed at 4 months. It can be old enough to get pregnant, and it's definitely young enough to make a difference. Prevent more, fix at month 4.
Welcome back to NSEN. I'm Jonas Sage, along here with Victor Binns. As we mentioned earlier, MTSU and WKU had a great matchup, but see how that was just a small footnote in a giant history book.
Women's basketball squad drove down to Murfreesboro this past Thursday to take on the Lady Raiders. It was a long ride, 100 miles to be exact. But it's not just the length of miles on the road trip that made it so long, but it's also the history that these two teams share.
When you know that Western's coming to town, it's something that you sense, that you feel, and then it gets you going. If you're a competitor, it gets your juices flowing, it gets you going.
It's been a tradition every time these teams play. Some have their reasons on the impact of the game.
It goes a long way when it comes to who they are and why we play them. There's always the grit factor, the who's who, they know each other. I mean, it's circled, whether it be women's basketball, men's basketball, baseball, every game, every sport. 100 Miles of Hate is a huge rivalry.
While others have simple answers. No matter what the fans think of the rivalry, it will always be the players that make the battles memorable. From a triple overtime victory in football to a road win at a sold-out diddle, both teams understand the meaning behind the legacy.
I don't think you really know that rivalry until you step on the floor or you know that it's that game week.
For the seniors, their last game against the Hilltoppers will be bittersweet. No matter the bad blood, there will always be the love of the game.
I hope we get to play them again. I want to play them again, and I think everyone on our team does.
For the players, it will be the memories they have of the games they once played. For the fans, it will be the bragging rights they love to hold. Nevertheless, the rivalry will always be there.
Any program out here that has a passion for our game, I respect. Now, that doesn't mean I like them. It just means I respect them.
And it's the history that makes the 100 Miles of Hate seem like a million.
I'm now alongside Calvin Smith. Now, Calvin, they only took 1 of 2 from the Murphy Center as we're getting down to crunch time in this conference tournament. What improvements do they need to make in order to have a deep run at Conference USA?
Well, it's been no secret this season that the Lady Raiders have struggled to shoot the ball. Like we said, they shot just 20% from three-point range against Western Kentucky. This team, outside of Anna Jones for the most part and a little bit of Jess Loro, has struggled to shoot the 3-ball, and that's going to be really important, as well as getting Alexis Johnson going, the preseason Conference USA Player of the Year.
Right, and as you mentioned, Alex Johnson, a big part of that now returning from injury. They had the injury bug so far. I believe they had over 45 games worth of injury, whether it be Abby Sissom, Kyla Allison, Alex Johnson, all of that, and that's had them down in the standings. As you're going to take a look here at the Conference USA standings, Western Kentucky now at the top with an 11-2 conference record, passing UAB after losing to Charlotte not too long ago. See, their MTSU is 5th place with an 8-5 conference record. They've only got 3 games left, so to put that last little push up there to get above to as high as 3rd is going to be vital going into Frisco.
In the upcoming conference tournament, they will be playing a team on the lower half of the bracket, which will help them. But being a 5 seed doesn't bode well, because once you reach the semis, you'll have to play the top tier seeds.
Right, and we'll see how the women's basketball team does going into the tournament. Still ahead on NSEN, we've got district high school basketball. See which teams came out on top in the King of Murfreesboro. Coming up, NSEN.
Chef Patty here. Why should you include...
Everyone deserves to have a decent place to live.
Everyone. Todos.
When a future homeowner partners with Habitat for Humanity to build or improve a home, they build a better future for themselves and their families.
For my family.
Para po sa pamilya ko.
Por mi familia.
With a little help, we all have the potential to stand on our own. Through shelter, we empower. Visit Habitat.org to provide help to families like these today.
Time is the one thing that we want more of as a St. Jude parent. Without the donors, I wouldn't have my Audrey.
El que St. Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
They take care of our housing. They take care of our food. In addition to the best medical treatment that my daughter could ever have. So it allows me to focus on my daughter and getting her better.
Your seat cushion can be used to grant wishes.
Who said that? Hello?
Really can, you know.
You talking to me?
Sure am. Because the airline miles you earn and donate to Make-A-Wish can help send thousands of kids on their wish trips. So donate to Make-A-Wish today.
You really should, you know. You really should.
and give wishes wings, because wishes work wonders.
Welcome back to NSEN, and we actually just got an update in right now for the district tournaments here. Is Blackman up 47-44 with just 54 seconds left, and it's Riverdale's ball. So yes, like I said, once again, Blackman is up 47-44 with just under a minute left. But speaking of district tournaments, it comes to an end tonight with the Rutherford County Schools. We have our sports reporters, David James, Darius Horton, and Jimmy Covington, and Will Lyles, give their thoughts on how the games went.
Came back from District 7 Region AAA for their tournament, for their district tournament today. Now, Darius, tell me, this was a whole weekend full of district tournaments. What did that make you feel?
Well, David, you know, the whole weekend and like all the games that was played today, it really showed off what Murfreesboro and what Rutherford County has to offer as far as in the game of basketball. We just finished the championship up, you know, just a few seconds ago.
It was the girls' championship too. It was the girls' championship too. Now, first of all, you know, let's start from the very beginning. You know, we weren't there for all the games though, but we were there for the Friday's game. You know who was actually there for the whole game?
Who was there?
Jimmy Covington. Jimmy Covington, can you let us know what your report on for that Friday night game was?
Thank you, David. Tonight we had a great defensive battle between Siegel and Laverne. Despite having the game's leading scorer, Siegel could not get it done tonight versus Laverne. It was a great low-scoring game. It was tough defense play, and that's what district tournament basketball is all about. It's win or go home, and that's what the game was like tonight. Also tonight, we had Stewart's Creek versus Riverdale. It was more of a high-scoring game. It was close throughout the whole game, and Elijah Cobb for Riverdale started to take over the game in the third quarter, and the game was tight in the fourth quarter. In Riverdale, they played better defense toward the last few possessions of the game. They started to crack down on the dribble drive, which was killing them at the beginning, and we look forward to seeing Riverdale play Oakland tomorrow night.
Thank you, Jimmy. So Darius, that was a pretty well-rounded group of games right there. You know, we had a lot of upsets, a lot of good games then. Now, Saturday, let's talk about Saturday. Saturday was the semifinal games. Now, this was for the boys and girls. You get to see number 1 Riverdale play number 4 Oakland for the tournament, and then you also had number 1 Blackman play number 5 Laverne. Now, you weren't there, of course. I was, but I also, you know what else I had with me? Will Lyles. Will Lyles, can you explain what happened on that weekend as well?
Thanks, David. We had semifinal action come from Oakland today with Riverdale taking on Oakland first for the women's game. Riverdale's Renee Alexander tried to stay out of foul trouble, but didn't do so good of a job, but she did have a lot of points, and she was the soul of the offense today, and she was part of the rock of the defense that really was able to smother Oakland today. Riverdale won big today, and they are really going to be playing that number 1 seed in the state all the way to the finals, where they'll be taking on Stewart's Creek on Monday. The second game of the girls was it was our game of the week. It was Stewart's Creek winning over Blackman by a score of 43-42. It was a complete nail biter. Stewart's Creek was able to pull off a big upset with a go-ahead bucket with just a few seconds left of the game, and Stewart's Creek was then able to get a game-deciding steal at the very last inbound of the game to win by 1 point over Blackman. It was a huge upset with reverberation still feeling it around here at Oakland. On the men's side, we had undefeated Blackman taking on Laverne, who was able to upset Siegel earlier in this tournament. Blackman dominated. They held Laverne scoreless in the first and part of the way through the second, and ended up winning big time, winning very easily. And now with Blackman being able to cruise by Laverne, they will now be going to the final on Tuesday night. Who will Blackman be taking on? They'll be taking on the winner of number 2 Oakland and number 3 Riverdale. Number 3 Riverdale was able to upset Oakland by a score of 55-41. Riverdale had some crushing defense that held MTSU commit Keyshawn Davison to only 12 points. And this was big because this allowed Riverdale to be able to fly off in the second half. And that's where they were really able to take control of the game and win. This was a crushing defeat for Oakland, as their men's and women's teams were not able to win today to be able to hold a home court advantage come Monday and Tuesday night for the title games. All this action today sets up the stage for Monday night, where Stewart's Creek will be taking on #1 Riverdale at 7:30 here at Oakland, and they will be hoping to play the upset once again.
Well, guys, we had the District 7 championship game today. It was for the girls basketball team. Now, this game was pretty good. It was between Riverdale and Stewart's Creek. Now, Darius, can you tell us less on what happened in the game?
Yeah, David, thank you for that, by the way. Like I said, this game was very competitive, like in the first half. In the first half, like both teams played tremendous defense. You know, Riverdale, they started out slow. They were missing a lot of shots. But what we saw that Stewart's Creek did is that they played phenomenal defense. And we know that's what the Lady Warriors are also known for as well. So to see Stewart's Creek in the first half, implement that style of play on Riverdale, sort of shows the talent that they have as well. They came in and they put up a good fight. The first half, the game was close. They were only down, I think, maybe 10 or fewer points in the first half. But as time always tells, the Lady Warriors of Riverdale, they're dominant. And they came out in the second half, guns blazing. Brene Alexander had a great game. She was phenomenal. She had 24 points, like you alluded to earlier. I think that, I think she left a good mark on this program. And her and the Wilmington sisters, they played great. Their whole years while here at Riverdale. And just trying to get them and what Coach had to say as well with some great advice.
I guess the biggest thing is, we just kind of. I got the program when they were sophomores, and so we've kind of got to live this journey together. They're great individuals. I think the one thing I'll remember most about this group of seniors is their incredible passion for basketball. We never have to coach effort, or you have to coach. Do you love this game as much as I do, and as much as I like coaching it? So, that's the thing that they'll leave with our program going forward.
That's all for NSEN. I'm David James,
and I'm Darius Horton.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. Pretty eventful weekend for high school basketball, and that's still not over. Still to come, Nathan's got you covered on all things MTSU tennis. See how they fared throughout the week.
Don't change that channel. We'll be right back.
I never imagined this would be your first home.
I feel powerless. I can't stop asking why us.
I just want to hug and kiss you and never let go.
This is the hardest thing we've ever faced. I know it's even harder on you.
You are my little fighter. We're here with you.
I believe in you. Just 4 simple words. But to a child in need, they mean the world. When you support a child through Save the Children, you're saying, I believe in you. Visit sponsor.savethechildren.org/believe today.
We cure 80% of children with cancer. If you think about that, go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. There's one thing we're focused on here at St. Jude, and that's beating this thing.
To pose, now sure. She makes the sun seem, makes me deep in the North Sea.
Welcome back to NSEN. As the action intensifies on the hardwood, it's just beginning in other sports, such as tennis for spring. So we're going to take it over to our NSEN tennis reporter, Nathan Vaughn, for more. Nathan?
Thank you very much, guys. The MTSU men's tennis team made the trip to Kansas to play the Shockers of Wichita State, and the squad was looking for a chance to get back in the win column after losing to Indiana in their last outing. The Blue Rangers, ranked nationally in doubles, pairing of Chris Edge and Tom Moonen, leading the way for MT to give them an early advantage. With wins of 4 of their 6 matches, MTSU securing its 9th win on the season, with Tom Moonen winning his match at the #1 spot in a 3-set scrap, taking the final set 13-11. Gonzalo Morel won in straight sets 6-2, 6-4 to move his singles record to 10-1. And John Issa, a rock for MTSU, stayed undefeated at 11-0 with a 7-6, 6-2 win. And Luis Mario Diaz also got a start at the 6th spot. He won in convincing fashion, 6-2, 6-1. Final score, 5-2 to the Blue Raiders. So up next now for MTSU is Wisconsin. The Badgers will be making a trip to Murfreesboro on the 25th at 10 a.m. The Badgers could possibly be the toughest test this season as the Blue Raiders look for their 10th win on the year. So let's go on to the other side. It's the women's turn to get a spotlight here, and they also had a road trip, but this time to Fort Myers, Florida. They were taking on FGCU, and things started off very well for MT as the Blue Raiders claimed the opening doubles point. So Costanza Magazzini and Marta Perez Herrero, they got a 6-1 win in there, and Josefina Zander and Zanny Barnard also winning theirs. So MT had been undefeated at 7-0 when winning the opening doubles match. That would not last here. FGCU taking 5 of the 6 singles matches to take the win over the Blue Raiders 5-2. Kim Kermit was the lone winner for MT with a 6-3, 6-3 victory at the #3 spot. Kermit is now up to 8 consecutive match wins this season. The loss now drops MTSU, unfortunately, as a team to 7-4, which is only second to ODU in Conference USA. So up next for the MT women's team, they have a game on Friday against UTC, and that will be followed up by a match versus Tulane on Sunday at 1:30, also at the Adams Tennis Complex. Both matches will give the Raiders a chance to get back to their winning ways before heading on a long-away stretch. Well, that'll do it for me. We're going to give you right back over to the desk.
Thank you very much, sir. Still ahead, we're going to take a look. The baseball season kicked off over the weekend. Let's take a look at how MTSU did.
That's still to come next on NSEN.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Idle hands. They say they're the devil's workshop. But give idle hands a place to go, a purpose, and they're capable of amazing things.
Welcome back to NSEN. Now, MTSU opened up their exciting baseball season against Western Illinois this past week. Let's kick it over to Will Lyles for more.
The Blue Raider softball team, or the Blue Raider baseball team, they won 3 straight games, outscoring their opponents by a miraculous 23-5, and they will now be going to the. The Raiders put on an offensive clinic, scoring 20 runs in the 3-game sweep, including this home run by Aaron Ocker. L.A. Woodard was the MVP of the weekend by getting 5 hits on 10 at-bats, including scoring 4 runs and recording 3 RBIs. The Blue Raiders will be returning to action today against Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and then again this weekend when they host the Mule Mix Classic. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, it looks like that's all the time that we have today, fellas.
We'll see you over same time, same place, same network at NSEN.
Happy birthday, big sis.